got to kind of turn your, so here with small intestine, this is the lumen. So before when we looked at the stomach, the lumen was up here. So this is the lumen. So these guys sticking out, these are the villi. So these finger extensions sticking out, those are the villi. And you should be able to see a pretty clear difference between villi sticking out, here I've got them up, here they're going this direction, versus pits that are dipping down. But again, what you want to do is you want to see the different tunics. So if we just position this. So the area where it's stained darker, this is going to be your mucosal tunic, which means this is the lumen. Mucosal tunic, then it stains lighter, submucosa, then it stains darker again, muscularis externa, serosa would be way out here on the outside. If we magnify this, so this is at 40x. Again, these are simple columnar epithelial cells. They're columns like this. The nuclei are these guys down here. So follow the nuclei. Come in like this. And then this area here in the middle, this is where your capillaries and lacteals are. So your epithelia is coming like this. This, and in the middle are your capillaries and lacteals, okay? Just like following this. Follow the epithelia, in the middle, capillaries and lacteals. If you go way out here on the ends, you can see the microvilli. This is easier to see if you take the fine focus and move it forward and back a little bit. You should be able to see the microvilli out here. See them nicely right here. Microvilli, microvilli. Microvilli. Microvilli kind of has a little bit of a yellow appearance to it. That's your microvilli. Now, what you want to do, I'm going to go back to 4x here. What you want to do on this slide, this is a composite slide. So what that means is it has a piece of duodenum, jejunum, and ileum all on this slide. And the way that you're going to tell those three apart is you're going to look for Peyer's patches, Brunner's glands, or neither. That's how you're going to tell these three parts of the small intestine apart from one another. So if we go, this one first. Okay, so what we're looking at here, one, we look at this and we know this is small intestine because we see these villi out here. We see these intestinal villi. Then we want to say, is this duodenum, jejunum, or ileum? And this one is going to be the ileum because what we're looking at here, these big purple areas, these are your Peyer's patches, and they're located in the submucosa. So the mucosal tunic is from here out. That's submucosa. Sorry, that's mucosa. Submucosa is in here, where normally it stays really light, but in the ileum you have these great big lymphoid nodules, kind of like tonsils, lymphoid tissue called Peyer's patches. That lets you know that you're in the ileum. If we just keep moving down here, Again, these Peyer's patches are in the submucosa, this area that stains light. Then you've got the muscularis externa tunic, serosa way out here in the outer part. But these big purple patches, Peyer's patches, tells you you're looking at the ileum. Okay, if we move over. This one here. When you look at this, again, you should be able to say it's small intestine because you can see these microvilli. Sorry, these intestinal villi. Those are your villi. That means this is your mucosal tunic, this area where it's lighter, submucosa, and it gets darker again, muscularis externa, serosa is way out here on the outside. In the submucosa here, you don't see those big Peyer's patches, so this cannot be the ileum. I don't see any little glands in here either, so this can't be the duodenum. This has to be the jejunum, because there's nothing in here except connective tissue. So that's the jejunum. We go over to the last one on the slide. It's a little hard because they stain so lightly, but again, you look at this and you should be able to say small intestine because you can see these intestinal villi. In terms of the tunics, from here out, mucosal tunic. This would be the submucosa, muscularis externa. When we look in here, you can see little glands here in the submucosa. And I'll magnify this in a second. But these little glands are just rings of simple cuboidal epithelia. They look like little donuts in here. Those are your Brunner's glands. They're secreting an alkaline mucus that would go out here into the lumen and help to neutralize the acidic kind that's coming from the stomach. So if I just magnify that area, you should be able to see that there are a bunch of these little rings of simple cuboidal epithelia, little mucus glands. Those are your Brunner's glands. And the submucosa is just filled with those. So, again, let me go back to 4X for a second. Okay. So, again, you see this? The villi tells you small intestine. The Brunner's glands tell you duodenum. Move it over to jejunum. Okay. Now this is jejunum because when you look here in the submucosa, you don't see Brunner's glands, you don't see Peyer's patches. That's jejunum. Go over here to the last one. This is the ileum, because when you look in the submucosa, you see these great big purple patches, Peyer's patches. This is ileum. So that's how you're going to tell different parts of the small intestine together. The slide that I will use is that composite slide. It's got 3 slices on one slide. Okay. And if we go over to the colon, this would be the lumen up here. This is going to be your epithelial cells here. This is your mucosal tunic. You have a very small submucosa, muscularis externa. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to magnify this mucosal tunic. And the way that helps me know that I'm looking at the colon is embedded in the simple columnar epithelia up here. you're going to see lots and lots and lots and lots of goblet cells, cells that secrete mucus. And the goblet cells are literally embedded in the simple columnar epithelia. Now, you can find goblet cells all over the place. You can find them in the trachea, you can find them in the esophagus, in the stomach, in the small intestine, but you're going to find a lot of them, a huge number of them in the colon. And that should make sense, right? And the colon is where we're producing fecal material. And we've got to help ease the movement of that fecal material. And one way we're going to do that is by secreting a lot of mucus, and that's going to help move that fecal material. So when we magnify this, you're going to see lots and lots and lots of goblet cells. So this is 10x. So again, what you're looking at here, this is your muscularis externa, very small submucosa area, but you can see it's stained much lighter. And then you've got your mucosal tunic. So mucosal tunic, submucosa, muscularis externa, and then serosa is very tiny at the bottom. If we look up here, so all of these little kind of circular areas that look clear, that's actually a great big piece of mucus inside of that cell that's getting ready to be exocytosed. So all of these, what look like white circles, those are goblet cells. Lots and lots and lots of goblet cells getting ready to exocytose that mucus. All of these little circles, all goblet cells in there. And you can see that there are just tons of them here in the colon. We magnify it one more time. It's a little bit hard to see when it's projected up here, but when you look in the scope, you can see the simple columnar epithelia actually pretty nicely. This would be the nucleus, and this would be the columnar cell right here. And again, all of these guys that look like just big empty spaces, those are goblet cells embedded in that simple columnar epithelia. So you see that, see lots of goblet cells, you know you're in there. Okay, I'm going to go back down to 4x, let you look at it one more time, and I'm going to take it off. Okay. Let's see. We've got the pancreas again. Remember that when you're looking at the pancreas, these areas where it stains lighter, those are your islets, your pancreatic islets. That's where you're going to find your alpha and beta cells, the ones that are making glucagon and insulin. All of these other cells, all of these other darker staining cells, those are your acinar or your acini cells. Those are the ones that are making your pancreatic enzymes. And all of the products will travel through the pancreatic ducts and end up in the duodenum. So, let's see if we can see. Look at everything over here. Yeah, okay. So, over here, you can see an islet, pancreatic islet, alpha and beta cells, glucagon and insulin are made here. All of these other cells, the majority of the cells, are making the pancreatic enzymes. These are your acinar or your acini cells. Those products would travel through these ducts. So here's a pancreatic duct, here's a pancreatic duct. Those products would travel through these ducts and then end up in the small intestine. That's your pancreas. And the last one is your recto-anal junction. Now, this slide here, what you want to focus on is you want to look and see where you make the switch